Welcome to TRADEREP. This is Shorthammer. It is the 30th of September 2019, and we're taking a look at Amazon. Now, Amazon today did give us a nice little dip near the open where we went below this dip here on, this is from the 5th of August when we were dropping. We dipped below that level and below the low that we had on, I believe this is Friday. We dipped below that low and we touched to the 1709 area. Then the buyer stepped in and we popped back to the upside almost I'd say about 29 points up. So the question is the bottom in on Amazon? Not sure, because all these areas that we've watched before when we were touching the 1740s and bouncing up, any one of these may have or could have been seen as the potential bottom for Amazon. But above the 1830s, as we pushed up into these 1840s, we did not see continuation. So when we see this push up in Amazon here, I'll see what we do tomorrow, or if we gap up overnight and we're into those 1740s. But when you're looking at Amazon, until we get over the 1756s, I think we can still fade on any push up. And even above this, we can still fade. If we look back here, back into early August, the 1740s are the bottom of a channel that we were stuck in for well over a month, and the 1833s are the top. Now, when we've sort of extended beyond that, whether to the downside or to the upside, we've been snapped back inside of the channel. And maybe that'll happen here. This was the first extension to the downside of the channel that lasted multiple days. And we'll see if the buying from today into tomorrow takes us back into this channel. Now, this horizontal line is the top of a channel that extends back to prior to 2016. And each time we've interacted with that channel, which I've mentioned in previous videos, we've bounced. Let me show you how that looks on the daily chart so you can see what I mean by that channel. Now, these are interactions with this channel here. So if we can go from the most recent to go back to, so let's say here we've tapped it and we pushed up from the 1740s. We pushed up to the 1840s here. Nice bounce. We tapped it here. We didn't bounce. Here we tapped it and we bounced from here and went on this run up into the 2000s. Here we tapped it and we bounced, went on a run up into the 1900s. And this is from 1587. Here we pierced it, and this was a small push up, but we pushed up about 100 points. Here we pierced and we tapped the bottom of the channel. The buyer stepped in and pushed us up from, this is 13, it's like 1316-ish. This is this supply demand zone here, all the way up to 1690s. We pierced it here and went as low as 1418. Buyer stepped in, pushed us back up above the 1760s. Touched it, pierced it here on the 31st of October, and buyer stepped in and pushed us back up. So each pierce of this, going back till when we broke out of this channel here, each pierce of this or touch of this has led to a, I'll call it a mini rally. So the question is this push down going to lead to a mini rally? We don't know. In each one of these phases, the news and the sentiment in the market was a little bit different. these were all bearish sentiments in the market, but they were flash downs and flash back ups. We'll see if we get a reversal here, and if the buyers step in and we get a nice rally to the upside. For me, I would like to see a break at the 1756s and then a squeeze up through the 1790s, 1805s. We really need a lot of buying to step in. And in a week where China is having their national day, and we also have the Jewish holiday, Rosh Hashanah, that usually this is a highly manipulated week where things can move rapidly in either direction. So just keep it tight. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart so we can see what happened today and sort of where buyers stepped in and where the buying ended. Where did it take us to? Now, this is today's 5-minute chart. So we opened and we sold from the open, pushed down to this pivot here. Buyers stepped in and bought us back up, and we pushed, tapped the 200 SMA here, rejected. This is the main intraday pivot, went back below, pushed back up, got above, and we got through eventually the pre-market highs. And it was an interesting sideways grind up. Other than this massive push from the bottom when the buyer stepped in, this was just the consolidate, like pull back, up, consolidation, up, pull back, consolidation, squeeze into the upside. So what we want to watch for tomorrow is the main intraday pivot is right around 1727. And we might pull back to that, but chances are is that we'll be on our way to the upside, potentially to the 1740, 1749s, if the buyers remain aggressive. Let me delete this. Don't need this. So I'll be watching Amazon tomorrow to see if we get a pullback into the 1727s, or if we hold the 1730s, because I was watching the main intraday pivot for today on this break above the 200 SMA, and as long as we held above this, I thought we could see some buying, but the buying was slightly muted. So I'll be watching for tomorrow to see if we can see more buying, if we see a pullback, if we gap up, and where we are. And I am not bullish or bearish on Amazon. I'm going to wait for the intraday play. And if we see a strong push down into demand areas, I'll buy. And if we see a squeeze up into supply areas, I'll look to fade and get short. I'm keeping all positions super tight this week. I am not trusting any movement in either direction too much. I'm just going to be trading in pockets. So if I see a nice little pocket and nice little range in between, then that's what I'll be taking from zone to zone. My expectation today was a potential push down into the 1690s, from which buyers could step in, but that is not what happened. Buyers stepped in earlier than I expected, and we rallied faster than I expected to the upside on Amazon. But overall, the market is still kind of shaky and still kind of weak. So we'll see what tomorrow looks like. Apple received good news, and Apple rallied today, and Apple was a large driver, I believe, of the upside that saved us from potentially rolling down to these 1690s. So we'll see where we are tomorrow. If Apple continues with the bullish movements to the upside, and if the buyers continue to push Apple and push Amazon up. But we'll see where we are. We have our levels that we want to watch. The 1737s are a level from previous trading sessions. 1723s. Now we have these lows of 1709. We want to get back into the 1740s and regain the bottom of the channel and squeeze to the upside. Once we get back in the channel, the range inside the channel is from the 1740s all the way up to the 1833s. But we'll see if we have enough buying pressure and enough positive sentiment in the market to get that squeeze.